They saw people. They tried to idealize the form of the human form. They tried to idealize that, and they made gods and goddesses within the Roman and Greek times. Yep.
I have a question about the sculptures. Like, I know in Greek, they like don't do their arms and hands and whatnot. Is there a real reason for that?
They do their hands and arms. The reason during wars and during the takeover, they cut those off to devalue those sculptures. So the Greeks would come into the Roman Empire, decapitate the sculptures, and the heads would then fall off because of that, and that would devalue the work. Also, they would decapitate to steal the head and keep it for themselves. If you go to the Cedar Rapids Art Museum, they have all of the goddesses, which is from here up, of Roman gods because people decapitated them. Okay? And they're worth a lot now because they got them. Any other questions about that? No? Okay. Next, we looked at religious art. They started going into the Renaissance. We looked at religions and what they meant for them, how important they were. We looked back at the history and the classics with neoclassical. Okay? The neoclassical times. Pay attention because this is, you weren't here. Neoclassical times. Neoclassical. Okay, they look back to the classics. They look back to the Roman times because, remember, they want to go back in time. They want to go back where it was good. All right, that's what they think anyways. All right, so they want to go back to those times. Enlightenment.
Chiaroscuro.
Enlightenment, yep, the chiaroscuro. They are interested in the future. They're interested in these new ideas. They're enlightened because of all of these new ideas about religion, all of these new ideas about science, all of these new ideas about everything, astronomy, yes, are coming up, and they're fascinated by that. So that's the Enlightenment. Romanticism. They idealize the world in Romanticism. They romanticize the idea of life because a lot is going on, traveling to the new worlds, okay? That great romantic idea of going over to overseas, starting a new life, okay? So they have hope, they romanticize. So that's the Romantic period. Realism, looking at what's real in our world, okay? So they paint people working in the fields. That has never been done before. Okay, so they look at what's real. All right? And then now it gets pretty interesting with Impressionism. A lot of stuff starts changing with Impressionism. Remember that? That the style of art, so the subject sort of changed within realism, and it has been changing throughout. But then they go into Impressionism where they change the style of painting altogether. Before, they try to make it look like a picture. But then the camera was invented, and they don't really care about that look anymore. They want to push the envelope farther, so they push the way that they paint. They make it different than it's ever been done before. Making it globs and texture, make it very interesting. That's Impressionism. And Post-Impressionism goes even farther with that idea, with Van Gogh and the Starry, Starry Night is abstract. Then it goes even farther with Cubism. Cubism, push this perspective and representation of a subject. So instead of painting this face, they look at different perspectives. They represent the form way different than it's ever been represented before. Okay? So it goes subject, 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 subject changes, and then it goes Impressionism, the style of the paint, of the medium. Okay, changes, and then now it goes, the Cubism changes the subject and how it's represented. Okay, so now they push that envelope. Then next, Surrealism, they push the subject of art again, where something has never been done. They look at Brendan, are you okay?
Yeah.
Did you call him Morgan? They look at Surrealism, they look at the subject of art again, but now they do something that's never been done. They paint weird and different, and they push the envelope. Look at the expression of how work is done. That's expressionist. And they look at the expression, how they express themselves through paint. Very abstract, right? Abstract expressionism. That's where it comes from. And last, now everything else has been pushed. So now they push the idea of what art is. Okay? So that's how I kind of think of all of the art movements. And I want you guys to think of them like that, because it's a little bit easier than thinking of dates and times and all of that. This is more useful, because when you go into a gallery now, you'll be able to tell what was going on. Why were they painting that way? Okay, so if you memorize that, this will come in handy when you go to the Art Institute of Chicago or the MoMA in New York. Okay?